Hey fly tyers, welcome back. My name is Matt and thank you for stopping by the channel. Now the pattern I'm going to be tying tonight is a true American classic. It is my go-to dry fly. It has been for years on almost any trout water I fish. It is the Elk Hair Caddis. I'm going to be tying the Troth original. Now Al was a Pennsylvania fly fisherman, used to go out to Montana for the summers. One summer he found an elk carcass, took the hide, put it in the river, let it soak for about 3 days, took a big piece of it home, tied up some new flies, thought they were going to be good wet flies, but when he fished it, the thing floated like a cork. So he came up with a new dry fly, and it has been a popular dry fly ever since. I fish it almost year round in pretty much any trout water. Oh yeah, if you entered to win the Jay Stockard $50 gift card, stick around to the end, I'll be doing the drawing for that. So let's get into tonight's fly. There it is in the vise, the Elk Hair Caddis, the original Troth version. I'm going to be tying this one on a size 16. It's a 1X long dry fly hook. The most common sizes I will tie this in are probably 16 and 18, sometimes down to a 20, rarely as big as a 14. I'm using brown 70 denier UTC. After you get a base to the bend of the hook, you'll take your copper wire. Now, fine or small or extra small. This one is extra small. And it's really just to hold the hackle in. You'll see in a minute. So get that caught in. Take your thread up. Oh, midpoint maybe. Now we're going to tie in our hackle. And a small brown, just dry fly hackle. I'm going to tie it in forward. So I'm trying to judge where you're going to start wrapping it and make that the frontmost as far forward as you want to get. So I think that we're going to wrap it about right there. So that looks good. A couple of wraps right there. We can go a little bit farther ahead than that. Okay. I think maybe one more turn. We just have to make sure we leave room for the big, bulky elk hair up front. So go ahead and take your thread to the back, and then where we're going to start dubbing our body. So close to the wire, put a little wax on your thread, and per the original, just hare's mask. I pulled a chunk out by the cheeks. It's got a little bit of guard hair and a little bit of fluff. So just put it on here pretty thin. Try to get a tapered noodle, so thin at the top, then maybe a little bit thicker, and then thinner at the bottom. So I'm leaving the guard hairs in for the most part. I got a really big long one right there, I'm going to go ahead and pull that one out. But yeah, just spin a fairly tight noodle on here, and then lay your body from the start of the wire, the back of it, all the way up to the hackle. Okay, that's pretty buggy. You can pull these out, trim them, or just ignore them. I'm going to go ahead and trim that one. I got a big chunk off the top. I don't really like that, so go ahead and trim that. Now that body looks okay. This brown hackle, I don't have a whole lot to work with, maybe 2 inches. We're only going to put about 4 wraps on it, but I want to use my hackle pliers anyway. Just makes it a little bit easier. So let's take about 4 wraps to the back. There's 2. And there's my 3rd. And then the last one at the very end. I'm going to bring it back around to my side. And I'm going to counter wrap this wire. So I'm going to, before I let go the hackle pliers, make sure I get one full solid wrap all the way around. Now I can release my hackle pliers, but I'm not letting go of the tension on this wire. And just zigzag it back up through here. It's going to trap a few. That's pretty much unavoidable, but just zigzag it to try to trap as few as possible. And when you get it back up front, go ahead and a couple of wraps to secure this. I will pull my thread down, put a little tension on it before I spin this off. Okay, we'll take one more wrap. Now we've got this excess back here to contend with. So just reach in here as close as you can, snip that off. Now I've got some sticking forward right here. I'm going to see if I can push them back instead of trimming them. If you can push them back, it might look just a little bit better. So I think that's going to be fine right there. You don't have to worry about too flat of a base right here, but you do want to lay have your thread hanging about, well, where you want the elk hair to be caught in. So take a fair sized clump of your elk hair right here. Now you notice this has a kind of a natural bend. I'll show you what you can do to try and minimize that. So we've got a pretty good sized clump right there. Before we put it in our stacker, pull some of the under fur out. I will just spin it between my fingers like this, and that will get them lined up, at least more parallel to each other. The tips aren't lined up, but you'll want to put it in your stacker, give it a few whacks, and then spin it like this. Spin your stacker maybe a half a turn, and then a few more whacks, spin it again, and a couple more whacks. And then you should have your tips lined up fairly well. I think that's going to work right there. So how long is this tail? Just a little bit past the bend of the hook. And do know that it's going to flare up. So if you got it way back here, it's going to flare up right there. And a little bit of flare is good. So I'm going to put it in my material hand, a fairly loose wrap over it, and then pull tight up on this side here. Before I let go with my material hand, I want to put another medium wrap right there, and then just check, make sure I'm not spinning around too much on the front of the hook. I am a little bit, so I'm going to try to just pull this up right here, and then hold it up with my material hand and put a couple of tight wraps right here. Okay, now how's that? Okay, let's not spin it around too much. I think we can live with that. Now I will pull this up here, put a wrap or two underneath, and then 3 or 4 good tight wraps right here. Okay, we're coming off a little bit on the side, but I think that's going to be fine. We've got a decent wing up there. Now, one tip here, if you can pull this off, if you're dexterous enough, grab your whip finish tool and hold your bobbin in your non-thread hand, and try to do the whip finish up under that forward elk hair. You're just pulling it back with your material hand, and then I got the whip finish up under there. It's a big mess right now, but we'll clean this up in just a second. So I'm snipping my thread there and gather all these forward facing fibers. You got one coming off down there, and here's where you've got an option. Toth liked a short head, and I kind of do too. You'll see some folks that'll cut it about right there and you get a big old long head. I like to lift it up at about a 45-degree angle and then come in here pretty tight, pretty close to the hook. That way you don't have a whole lot of issue trying to thread your tippet through there, but you'll definitely want a piece of head cement on that. And what you can do, some folks, if you make a short head, you put the drop of head cement just right up here amongst those. I will do that sometimes, but mainly I will just make sure I put a drop right here underneath the bottom. And a fairly, ooh, that might be a little bit too much right there, so Let's see, did we get enough on there? Well, you know what I'm trying to do here. So just a little drop of head cement or UV resin underneath there. Put your torch on it for 10 or 15 seconds. And the original Elk Hair Caddis is done. A very simple fly, super effective. This thing floats like a cork. So that's all, folks. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thank you for sticking around. Now I'm about to do the drawing for the J Stockard $50 gift card. Tell you a little about it. We had 19 entries. How I'm going to do this, I wrote 19 names down, 1 through 19. Scroll through them right here in a couple of seconds. You can see your name. If your entry was in, you should already know because I responded to most emails. Thank you all for entering. So what I've done, I've got 19 poker chips with the numbers 1 through 19 written on them in my #1 dad mug or trophy cup that I won for being the #1 dad. Pretty awesome. So I'm going to shake it up. Here we go. Just shake this up. And I'm going to reach in here, blindly pull one out. And it is number 2. Number 2 is AONS, which is All Outdoors Nova Scotia. So, hey, congratulations, you got it. Oh yeah, All Outdoor Nova Scotia, I will email you. So if you're watching this before you've gotten an email back from me, check your email and I'll tell you how to get this gift card. So one other note before we wrap up, if you think your bench is a mess, it's probably not. All 19 of these folks sent me pictures of their fly tying bench. Oh my gosh, I thought mine was messy. Mine looks great compared to some of these folks, but anyway, that's the life of a fly tyer. So thank you folks for entering. Stick around. We are not too far away from doing our 500 subscriber giveaway. That's going to be a pretty cool vise. So stay tuned, watch for that. Upcoming in the next month or so. That's going to be a really fun one. So that's all, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.